This meeting is being recorded.
Paper 4, God's Relation to the Universe.
Yes.
URANTIA Books. The Universal Father has an eternal purpose pertaining to the material, intellectual, and spiritual phenomena of the universe of universes, which he is executing throughout all time. God created the universes of his own free and sovereign will, and he created them in accordance with his all-wise and eternal purpose. It is doubtful whether anyone except the paradise deities and their highest associates really knows very much about the eternal purpose of God. Even the exalted citizens of paradise hold very diverse opinions about the nature of the eternal purpose of the deities.
Bloody hell, still arguing about it, hey?
I'm right. Still arguing about God. It is easy to deduce that the purpose in creating the perfect central universe of Havona was purely the satisfaction of the divine nature. Havona may serve as the pattern creation for all other universes, and as the finishing school for the pilgrims of time on their way to paradise. However, such a supernal creation must exist primarily for the pleasure and satisfaction of the perfect and infinite creators. The amazing plan for perfecting evolutionary mortals and, after their attainment of paradise and the core of finality, providing further training for some undisclosed future work, does seem to be, at present, one of the chief concerns of the 7 super universes and their many subdivisions. But this ascension scheme for spiritualizing and training mortals of time and space is by no means the exclusive occupation of the universe intelligences. There are indeed many other fascinating pursuits which occupy the time and enlist the energies of the celestial hosts.
Beautiful.
Someone else?
Oh, I can go. 1. The universe attitude of the Father. For ages, the inhabitants of Urantia have misunderstood the providence of God. There is a providence of divine outworking on your world, but it is not the childish, arbitrary, and material ministry many mortals have conceived it to be. The providence of God consists in the interlocking activities of the celestial beings and the divine spirits who, in accordance with cosmic law, increasingly labour.
Unceasingly.
Oh,
I've got
what
one
did I
in,
say?
you've got one in, yeah.
Yeah. What did I say?
Increasingly.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Unceasingly labour to the honour of God and for the spiritual advancement of his universe children. Ah.
Beautiful.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Can you not advance in your concept of God's dealing with man to that level where you recognize that the watchword of the universe is progress? Through long ages, the human race has struggled to reach its present position. Throughout all these millenniums, Providence has been working out the plan of progressive evolution. The two thoughts are not opposed in practice, only in man's mistaken concepts.
Wow.
Hmm.
Mm.
Divine providence is never arrayed in opposition to true human progress, either temporal or spiritual. Providence is always consistent with the unchanging and perfect nature of the supreme lawmaker. Oh,
Oh, God. Oh, my God.
yeah.
I'm already stoned.
God is faithful, and all his commandments are just. And all this is in quotes. Yeah. His faithfulness is established in the very skies. Forever, O Lord, your word is settled in heaven.
Mm.
Your faithfulness is to all generations. You have established the earth, and it abides. He is a faithful creator. There is no limitation of the forces and personalities which the Father may use to uphold his purpose and sustain his creatures. The eternal God is our refuge, and underneath are the everlasting arms. Oh, he who dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. Behold, he who keeps us shall neither slumber nor sleep. We know that all things work together for good to those who love God. For the eyes of the Lord are over the righteous, and his ears are open to their prayers. Wait. I'll read one more.
Yes.
God upholds all things by the word of his power. And when new worlds are born, he sends forth his sons, and they are created. God not only creates, but he preserves them all. God constantly upholds all things material and all beings spiritual.
Mm.
The universes are eternally stable. There is stability in the midst of apparent instability. There is an underlying order and security in the midst of the energy upheavals and the physical cataclysms of the starry realms. Ah, boy. Ah.
The Universal Father has not withdrawn from the management of the universes. He's not an inactive deity. If God should retire as the present upholder of all creation, there would immediately occur a universal collapse.
Mm.
Except for God, there will be no such thing as reality. At this very moment, as during the remote ages of the past and in eternal future, God continues to uphold. The divine reach extends around the circle of eternity. Ugh. The universe is not wound up like a clock to run just so long as then
And yeah.
clock run just so long as so long and then, that's weird, eh? Cease to function. All things are constantly being renewed. I like that bit.
Mm.
Wow. Constantly being renewed. Like the Course of Love says, birth of the new. The Father unceasingly pours forth energy, light, and life. The work of God is literal as well as spiritual. He stretches out the north over the empty space and hangs the earth upon nothing.
Oh,
Very poetic.
Yeah, beautiful. A being of my order is able to discover ultimate harmony and to detect far-reaching and profound coordination of the routine affairs of universe administration. Much that seems disjointed and haphazard to the mortal mind appears orderly and constructive to my understanding. But there is very much going on in the universe that I do not fully comprehend. This is the writer of the paper, right?
Mm.
I have long been a student of and am more or less conversant with the recognized forces, energies, minds, moronchas, spirits, and personalities of the local universe and the super universes. I have a general understanding of how these agencies and personalities operate, and I'm intimately familiar with the workings of the accredited spirit intelligences of the ground universe. Notwithstanding my knowledge of the phenomena of the universes, I am constantly confronted with cosmic reactions which I cannot fully fathom. I'm continually encountering apparently fortuitous.
Fortuitous.
What is that?
So fortunate things like good stuff. Yeah.
But I'm constantly encountering apparently fortuitous conspiracies of the interassociation of forces, energies, intellect, and spirits, which I cannot satisfactorily explain. I am entirely competent to trace out and to analyze the working of all phenomena directly resulting from the functioning of the Universal Father, the Eternal Son, and the Infinite Spirit, and to a large extent, the Isle of Paradise. My perplexity is associated by encountering...
Occasion.
What was that?
My perplexity is occasioned.
Occasioned by encountering what appears to be the performance of their mysterious coordinates, the three absolute of potentiality.
Mm.
These absolutes seem to supersede matter, to transcend mind and supervene spirit. I like those. I'm constantly so cute, isn't it? I'm constantly confused and often perplexed by my inability to comprehend these complex transactions, which I attribute to the presences and performances of the unqualified absolute, the deity absolute, and the universal absolute. How are we doing, guys? Still enjoying ourselves?
I'm lost.
Yeah, it's good. That's a good place to be.
Yeah, and we berate ourselves for being confused. God,
Yeah, we do.
This
You
book
know-
will confuse you so totally that will dislodge any kind of structure that you might be holding about anything, but
Yeah.
it slowly replaces it, which is beautiful. Mm.
I like
mean-
that. Mhm.
sorry.
I liked, or I sort of understood the part about recreating that kind of
Yeah.
went in.
Yeah.
I liked that.
Yeah.
And it made me think how I could be more
Mhm.
creative in my daily life. And I've been aware of that prior to this. But yeah. So that kind of went in. So that was good.
Yeah, beautiful.
The three absolutes of potentiality.
Uh-huh.
Oh my.
These absolutes must be not fully revealed presences abroad in the universe, which, in the phenomena of space potency and in the function of other super ultimates, render it impossible for physics, philosophers, or even religionists to predict with certainty as to just how the primordials of force, concept, or spirit will respond to demands made in a complex reality situation involving supreme adjustments and ultimate values. There's also an organic unity in universes of time and space, which seem to underlie the whole fabric of cosmic events. This living presence of the evolving supreme being, this immanence of the project incomplete is inexplicably manifested ever and anon by what appears to be amazingly fortuitous coordination of apparently unrelated universe happenings. This must be the function of providence, the realm of supreme being and conjoined actor. Okay, actually I'll finish this one. I'm inclined to believe that it is far-flung and generally unrecognizable control of the coordination and interassociation of all phases and forms of universe activity that causes such a
Variegated?
Variegated, yeah.
Very
beautiful, sounds amazing, and apparently hopelessly confused medley of physical. It's just so funny, isn't it? A medley. Of physical, mental, moral, and spiritual phenomena of so unerringly to work out to the glory of God and for the good of man and angels. Jesus.
Ah,
Oh, the medley. This is the largest, this in the larger sense, the
but in the larger sense.
yes, but in the larger sense, the apparent accidents of the cosmos are undoubtedly a part of the finite drama of this time-space adventure in the infinite, in his eternal manipulation of the absolute. Gosh, I'm so cooked.
Sounds like he's having a fine time.
David, so it's kind of finite time.
Oh,
Oh, God. Mm. It's just so beautifully written. I can't get over it. How is that this language, huh? How they use the words.
yeah, it's so amazing, isn't it?
So
Do
amazing.
do you think that possibly this was channeled?
Well, there are some theories how it came about, but it wasn't channeled as they very strongly Urantians, people who are into this.
Should have won the Nobel Prize for Literature, I reckon.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, it's quite amazing.
Yes, they don't say it was channeled. They like it to be so unique. Apparently, it was recorded by a sleeping, what do they call it? Sleeping phenomena of some kind, that the guy would go to sleep and begin to narrate this, and somebody would sit there. So there was no filtering. There was nobody there going like, well, I'm not going to write this down like this, or it was just coming out.
Yeah.
And it's started to happen somewhere in late 30s, 1930. So about 100 years ago, that this began to be kind of written down. And it took, apparently, as far as I know, I mean, I could be mistaken, but as that I remember, took about 20 years. And then the war came. And so they decided to wait until the war is over. And first it got published in 1955, that I know. Something I know.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
And that this piece has been around for so long. And sometimes I listen to some scientists or some astrologers and some
astronomers.
Yeah, that's it. And I go like, guys, it's all written. It's all written down.
Yeah.
Your amazing discoveries and findings, it's all in here.
I gotta go do the breakfast thing.
Bye, Anthony.
See you, brother.
Yeah,
See you, Anthony.
I'll listen to it later.
Yeah,
See
for sure. Get you soon.
Enjoy.
Good to see you
Love
all.
you, bro. Love you,
Good
bro.
day.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
Beautiful, huh?
Yeah.
Any questions that I possibly couldn't answer?
It just seems so crazy to think we actually know something, like, oh, yeah. And it's impossible to get your mind around the immensity of it.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
You know,
So are we connected to all the universes in some way?
yes.
Yes. We are. We
That's
just
what I imagine.
lost the sensations with which to be aware of that.
Yeah,
We either lost it or we haven't gained them yet.
okay.
Excuse me, it must be true. Yeah.
I always feel like when and I felt this since a young age, and I'm sure many people
Mhm.
do, when I look at the stars, which are planets,
Yeah.
it just makes you feel expansive.
Mhm.
And I know that's maybe not connected to this, but I feel a connection with what I see in the sky at night.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I had an experience as a child that just somehow knowing I was connected to all of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a flash of a moment, but it's
Mhm.
very reassuring. Yeah.
Yes. It's a quiet recognition, isn't it? It's just like you have this experience that you can hardly ever describe.
Mm.
You don't talk to right people. They look at you like a couple of your screws are too loose or something.
Yeah.
It never even occurred to me to even say anything about it to anybody.
Uh-huh.
When
No.
I was a kid, no, just
Very, very little space for it here.
yeah.
Yeah, too. I remember connecting to some stars that had like a holy instant with a star, like feel and complete connection, like a perfect oneness, really. I'm going like, wow, I am fully united to this.
Mm.
But it wasn't a rah-rah thing, like, oh, I'm united to a star. It's more like it was just so beautifully quiet. Like that in that quiet knowing, like it says in the lesson 37, in the quiet recognition of all oneness,
Yeah.
without needing to preach it out or needing to go and tell the
Yeah.
good news.
Yeah, you don't need to do anything with it. Just
Yeah. It's like that
it's
knowing, like that Carl Jung, that when they ask him, it's so beautiful, that moment. That's just, I'm so glad that that's on a film. When they ask him if he believes in God, and for a moment he goes, believe? No, not believe. I know. And then he's got
Yeah.
this most beautiful expression on his face
Yeah.
mm.
I love Carl Jung.
that speaks volumes. It was like, I was like, oh wow. And then people are like, oh, do you believe in God? It's like, don't even go there.
Yeah.
If you have to ask that question, I know you don't, because you wouldn't be asking stupid questions like that.
But it's funny to come from the place where I didn't believe, and you
Me too.
can't convince anybody. It's impossible. Yeah.
Well, why would you want to?
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. Would have to be some form of specialness or something.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
So who are is it supernal beings?
Supreme
Am I
being.
saying? Pardon?
Supreme being.
That's it. That's it. I must
Yeah.
have heard supernal somewhere else.
One day I was walking down here through the nature, and I was listening to the URANTIA book, and they mentioned this just that word, supreme being, and it was just like that experience with the star. It just went, oh shit, that's all I could say. it's because it touches so deeply. It didn't even touch like in my mind or in my heart. It was such a grounded experience of these beings, and I had a feeling I only like touched on something.
Yeah.
I think if I would have to fully experience it, my body would probably disintegrate or something.
Yeah, the vibration would probably be too high.
Yeah, too high of a vibration.
Yeah.
Not as that higher is better. It's just high
No, it's
vibration
different.
where
It's not.
where the density of my body could not withstand the pressure.
Yeah, because we're on Earth. Yeah.
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 All right.
And I can
Oh,
anyway.
No, you go
No,
ahead.
fine.
Yeah.
I was just going to say sometimes in meditation I have to be careful to keep grounded because I can sometimes feel that I'm getting a bit too lightheaded, and I can sometimes feel a wee bit nauseous if I go too out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to meditate for up. Now I'm going constantly. Like the deeper I go, I feel sometimes I go what appears to be below me.
Yeah.
And it's like so juicy and so physically rich.
Yeah.
Like physically rich. I'm going like there is absolute. I feel almost like. I think this is the way he's going to talk a little bit more about the physical. Let's get into that before I say another sentence. Kevin, you're blessed the moment.
Yep. 2. God and nature. Nature is in a limited sense the physical habit of God. The conduct or action of God is qualified and provisionally modified by the experimental plans and the evolutionary patterns of a local universe, a constellation, a system, or a planet. God acts in accordance with a well-defined, unchanging, immutable law throughout the wide spreading master universe. But he modifies the patterns so as to contribute to the coordinate and balanced conduct of each universe, constellation, system, planet, and personality in accordance with the local objects, aims, and plans of the finite projects of the evolutionary unfolding. Therefore, nature, as mortal man understands it, presents the underlying foundation and fundamental background of a changeless deity and his immutable laws, modified by, fluctuating because of, and experiencing upheavals through and working through of the local plans, purposes, patterns, and conditions which have been inaugurated and are being carried out by the local universe, constellation, system, and planetary forces and personalities. For example, good an example.
I know.
As God's laws have been ordained in Nebadon, they are modified by the plans established by the Creator Son and Creative Spirit of this local universe. And in addition to all this, the operation of these laws has been further influenced by the errors, defaults, and insurrections of certain beings resident upon your planet and belonging to your immediate planetary system of Satania. That clarifies it. The planetary system of Satania, that's got to do with Satan, isn't it?
Well, exactly. I mean, we are, this is where we live. That's why we are slightly twisted.
Yeah.
Still affected by. we are apparently still affected by what they call the Luciferian rebellion, which is coming later on somewhere.
For sure, yeah.
Which affected everything. And so, yeah, we live in Satania.
Yeah.
In a part of a universe, part of our local universe is called Satania. It's kind of cute, no? Like it's evil,
yeah,
somehow. Like it's evilishly cute.
Cute in italics.
Huh? What did you say?
Cute in italics.
Yeah, yes.
Nature is a time-space resultant of two cosmic factors. First, the immutability, perfection, and rectitude of paradise deity. And second, the experimental plans, executive blunders, insurrectionary errors, incompleteness of development, and imperfection of wisdom of the extra paradise creatures from the highest to the lowest.
I love that word.
You should be saying, Jesus, help me.
Yeah.
You said Jesus there.
Rectitude.
Nature therefore carries a uniform, unchanging, majestic, and marvellous thread of perfection from the circle of eternity. But in each universe, on each planet, and in each individual life, this nature is modified, qualified, and perchance marred by the acts, the mistakes, and the disloyalties of the creatures of the evolutionary systems and universes, and therefore must nature ever be of a changing mood, whimsical withal, though stable underneath, and varied in accordance with the operating procedures of the local universe. Of the local universe. These sentences are so long.
Well, no wonder we have bad days.
Yes. Trying to fit into this in any way with our dense brains.
Yeah.
Nature is the perfection of paradise divided by the incompletion, evil, and sin of the unfinished universes. This quotient is thus expressive of both the perfect and the partial, of both the eternal and the temporal. Continuing evolution modifies nature by augmenting the content of paradise perfection and by diminishing the content of evil, error, and disharmony of relative reality.
I love it.
Relative reality, yes.
Yeah, relative reality.
I'm enjoying this section that you're reading, Kevin. I'm really enjoying
just
this.
Just the way I read it.
That'll be it, yeah.
It's amazing. It's amazing how joyous it gets, doesn't it?
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
This was my journey with it. I could not hide the joy while I was not even sure of what I was listening to.
Yeah.
I'm like, how does this make me so happy? Like this is some kind of stability in the knowing that something actually knows. You know, that there is this upholding, there's this incredible container in which like seems to be a perfect order that even appears to be not
disorderly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Nevertheless, beautiful, huh?
Yeah.
God is not personally present in nature or in any of the forces of nature, or the phenomenon of nature is the superimposition of the imperfections of progressive evolution and sometimes the consequences of insurrectionary rebellion upon paradise foundations of God's universal law.
Mm.
Insurrectionary rebellion.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Don't know why it reminds me of the recent times.
Mm.
As it appears on such a world as Urantia, nature can never be the adequate expression, the true representation, the faithful portrayal of an all-wise and infinite God.
Yeah, that was hard to swallow, but that was good to be told that.
Nature on your world is a qualification of the laws of perfection by the evolutionary plans of the local universe. What a travesty to worship nature because it is in a limited, qualified sense pervaded by God. After that again. What a travesty to worship nature because it is in a limited, qualified sense pervaded by God. Because it is a phase of the universal and therefore divine power. Nature also is a manifestation of the unfinished, the incomplete, the imperfect outworkings of the development, growth, and progress of the universe experiment in cosmic evolution.
So is are they saying that we should not worship nature?
Yeah, it's a travesty.
Well, I am committing a travesty because I love nature, but not to the exclusion of.
Yeah, it doesn't say that not to love it. It's just not to replace it, us.
Yeah.
Not to compare it to.
Not to worship it.
Yes,
Yeah.
not to worship it. Yeah.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So God has nothing to do with nature at all.
And we're part of it, aren't we? Because we're not.
Well, it has some part in it. But not, it's some take it as that's God, and then he basically says that that's flawed.
Yeah, like yeah.
Okay, it's an incomplete statement.
Would that have been sort of maybe a pagan way?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The apparent defects of the natural world are not indicative of any such corresponding defects in the character of God. Rather, are such observed imperfections merely the inevitable stop moments in the exhibition of the ever-moving reel of infinity picturization.
Oh, dear.
It is these very defect interruptions of perfect continuity which make it possible for the finite mind of material man to catch a fleeting glimpse of divine reality in time and space.
Fleeting glimpse.
The material manifestations of divinity appear defective to the evolutionary mind of man only because mortal man persists in viewing the phenomena of nature through natural eyes.
Exactly.
Human vision, unaided by Morontia motor or by revelation. It's compensatory substitute on the worlds of time.
Amazing that dimension vision, huh?
Pardon?
So they I love how this is exactly what Course of Miracle basically says, vision will show you something that your eyes can never show you.
Yeah.
It's like that inner seeing that is just, faultless, really.
Okay, and nature is marred. Her beautiful face is scarred. Her features are scared.
Seared.
Yeah, looks like can only looks like SC something to me. I'll just say it again. And nature is marred. Her beautiful face is scarred. Her features are seared by the rebellion, the misconduct, the misthinking of the myriads of creatures who are part of nature, but who have contributed to her disfigurement in time.
Wow.
Wow. Oh.
No, nature is not God. No, nature is not God. Nature is not an object of worship.
Wow. Whew.
Ooh. But we can love nature and enjoy nature.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's the beauty. It doesn't deny it, but he goes, hey, there is more to this than you can possibly comprehend or imagine or even conceive of at this point. Because you don't have enough sensations with which to see.
Yeah.
Like the limited sensation we have and the eyes we have, so dense. They see density.
Yeah.
So evolving feelings is so important, because suddenly you see with something you did not know you could see with. Like seeing with feelings is a completely different way of understanding everything. How are we going, guys? Are we soaked?
Yep.
I could even say I'm pretty soaked. Should we leave it at that? Maybe the next section is not that long. Should we squeeze it in?
Yeah, why not?
All right. We have like a page or so.
Shall I start it?
Yeah.
3. God's unchanging character. All too long has man thought of God as one like himself. God is not, never was, and never will be jealous of man or any other being, the universe of universes. Knowing that the Creator Son intended man to be the masterpiece of the planetary creation, to be the ruler of all the earth, the sight of his being dominated by his own baser passions, the spectacle of his bowing down before idols of wood, stone, gold, and selfish ambition. These sordid scenes stir God and his sons to be jealous for man, but never of him.
There's a whole chapter on this, on this, idolization of trinkets.
That's in A Course in Miracles too.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Selfish ambition.
In here, they describe it beautifully. Like they start giving meaning, meaning to water, and meaning to air, and meaning to all sorts of physical or anything that's kind of unseen, like, the wind. You can't see it, but you can definitely feel it.
Yeah.
So they gave it more power, and slowly they begin to translate that onto, like says in here, onto stone and gold and bones
Precious
and
gems,
yes,
crystals.
and it goes on when you listen to it. It's like
Coffee.
The what?
Pardon?
Coffee.
I thought you said coffee. Yeah.
We're not discussing that. That's
There seems to be like a massive,
yeah.
thing about coffee in these times, doesn't
Oh
there?
yeah.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
Oh, sorry, I interrupted.
Oh no, please.
But what does it mean to be jealous for man? That's an
Yeah, as opposed to of.
Some people think that unphysical realms are jealous because we can be physical, and it's just not so.
Oh.
Like they are jealous for us. Actually, what's his name? Mel Gibson is giving these crazy talks that are kind of almost loopy, where he actually introduces some of these concepts in a way,
Some people think that he's come back through Moses.
Yeah.
He looks a bit like him at the moment with the beard and the hair.
Yeah, and the effects of the years of alcohol and
Yeah, well, it fries the brain a bit. Yeah,
doesn't look exactly normal. Looks scattered.
Maybe he's going through a crisis of some description.
Yeah, and he admits it. It's quite cool, but it's got still that very, very basic Christian dogmatic.
Yeah.
I know the secret, and you don't, and
specialness.
Yeah, and he says, for me, a man that says "I think," he's basically doesn't say "I know."
Yeah.
He says, "I think it's this way, and I think it's that way." And
I
think Hemingway summed it up the best when he says, "All thinking men are atheists." It's a profound,
nice one.
It's a profound statement. It's absolutely like, let that sink in. All thinking men are atheists. I was like, that is so true. Because when you have these profound experiences, you're so speechless. Your whole thinking system just gets
you can't speak
dislodged from its rigid greatness,
I was listening to a Swedenborg talk, and it was talking about there's a part of our brain called the cerebellum, and it's really small, and it's right at the back, but that's where the feelings and the will have to come through there.
Where?
Through the cerebellum, and apparently it's like really small compared to our normal brain, the upper brain, but it's got like way more capacity. Like it's got more of the brain matter in there than the actual bigger brain.
Mm-hmm.
But it has, if we don't have the will and feelings through there, and it just comes through the upper part, it's not whole. It's like just the thinking part and nothing else. Yeah, it was really interesting. Like it fits perfectly with what you're saying, Cole.
Yeah.
And he also says the will is feelings.
Mm-hmm. Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, and he's always talking about the providence of God. So, and he was born in the 1600s.
Who's that? Sorry,
Swedenborg. He was a fellow that could travel into the spiritual realms while he was alive, and he wrote.
Was he a philosopher?
He was, he was a scientist, philosopher. Like he had a really high IQ, and he wrote before his spiritual experiences. Wrote like heaps of books. He was really famous in his time.
Yeah.
But then when he became spiritual, he started writing about that. No one wanted a bar of him. Like they thought he was crazy.
Yeah.
But way back then, he was writing about all the different types of spirits and all the different planets, you know, like.
Yeah. Well, it's a bit like
Really?
Rudolf Steiner.
Yep.
Yeah, but totally sort of different way of
Yeah, different,
describing it. It's really interesting. Yeah. But he does talk about the feelings a lot. Yeah. But I was surprised about this part of the brain, you know. Yeah.
Could
I'd
you
heard of it,
spell
but I
that
didn't
out
know
for
what
me,
it meant.
please? Could you spell that out for me, please, so I can write it down?
I think it's CERREBEB cerebellum ULUM or something like that. Hang on, I'll look it up.
No, the name of the guy I think she wants, Kim.
Oh, sorry. Swedenborg. SWEDENBORG.
Oh, just Sweden and Borg on the end.
Yeah.
Thanks. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, and I started reading his stuff years ago, but I couldn't cope with all the way he talked about spirits. It was just too much for me at the time, but now, I don't know, it's making more sense.
Yeah, it makes more sense.
That's what happens with some books, yeah.
Yeah. And he's basically saying heaven and hell are states of mind. Yeah. And all these things are states of mind. And every physical thing here corresponds to something spiritual. It's all because it correspondences. So everything in the Bible corresponds to something spiritual. And they're always talking about what happened in the spiritual world, not on the physical, not on earth so much. It's to do with that realm.
Yes.
Yeah, it's yeah. Anyway.
Yes.
It was his experiences, so.
Thank you for that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's move. Let's go on. He's going to go that the Luciferian rebellion now. So let's read. It's fun.
The eternal God is incapable of wrath and anger in the sense of these human emotions, and as man understands such reactions. Wow. These sentiments are mean and despicable. Despicable. They are hardly worthy of being called human, much less divine. And such attitudes are utterly foreign to the perfect nature and gracious character of the universal Father. Oh, wow. I'll read one more. Much, very much, of the difficulty which Urantia mortals have in understanding God is due to the far-reaching consequences of the Lucifer rebellion and the Caligastia betrayal. On worlds not segregated by sin, the evolutionary races are able to formulate far better ideas of the universal Father. They suffer less from confusion, distortion, and perversion of concept.
Wow, that's amazing. On the worlds not segregated by sin. Whew. God, that just gives you an idea of worlds that are not affected by distortions.
Right. Oh, I have to read one more now.
Yes, well, we're nearly done. I mean, there's only like a couple, and then we at least have the next section done.
God repents of nothing he has ever done, now does, or ever will do. He is all wise as well as all powerful. Man's wisdom grows out of the trials and errors of human experience. God's wisdom consists in the unqualified perfection of his infinite universe insight, and this divine foreknowledge effectively directs the creative free will. Effectively directs the creative free will. We definitely don't want to follow our own will, do we? What a mess.
Well, the real will is in you.
Yes, that's right.
You connect to it, then it actually guides you correctly.
Yes, yes.
But we talk about the will with the no capital W.
Yeah.
The more like the mind's survival manual.
Yeah, the human will.
Yeah.
The Universal Father never does anything that causes subsequent sorrow or regret, but the will creatures of the planning and making of his creator personalities in the outlying universes, by their unfortunate choosing, sometimes occasion emotions of divine sorrow in the personalities of their creator parents. But though the Father neither makes mistakes, harbours regrets, nor experiences sorrows, he is a being with a Father's affection, and his heart is undoubtedly grieved when his children fail to attain the spiritual levels they are capable of reaching with the assistance which has been so freely provided by the spiritual attainment plans and the mortal ascension policies of the universes.
Jeez.
Oh, God. No wonder the prodigal son is such a powerful story.
Yeah.
You know?
I know.
Yeah. The infinite goodness of the Father is beyond the comprehension of the finite mind of time. Hence must there always be afforded a contrast with comparative evil, in brackets, not sin, for the effective exhibition of all phases of relative goodness. Perfection of divine goodness can be discerned by mortal imperfection of insight only because it stands in contrastive association with relative imperfection in the relationships of time and matter in the motions of space. The character of God is infinitely superhuman. Therefore must such a nature of divinity be personalized as in the divine sons, before it can even be faith grasped by the finite mind of man.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, what an amazing chapter.
Yes.
Beautiful.
One seems like it might be good, the realization of God. We'll wait till next week, won't we?
Yes.
That might be a good idea.
Something to look forward to.
Like one of those old serials on TV, it gets to the point where someone's just about to get killed and you got to wait till next week to find out.
I have to say that it's really lovely to read this. If you have a background in Course of Miracles and Course of Love, and reading this, I think there is something in this room it's just so lucid in a way.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Really enjoyed this. This is beautiful.
Mm.
It's just having that open mind space, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And let that joy kind of come through just so, as a matter of fact, doesn't it? But it just makes me happy for, I can't even touch up on it, what it actually is, but.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was funny.
Sorry. Yeah.
Well, when we first started, I was just thinking, like, here we go again with this, whatever the fuck it is, But then toward the end here, I sort of don't want to leave,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how I was feeling too at the beginning, Kevin. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I feel like it gives me permission to be like a little child, because really I still am,
Well, that's what Jesus wants us to be like.
in the face of what we don't know, how can, like,
I'm using an affirmation at the moment, and it's to do with Orasoma. I've been using it for years. And at the moment, my affirmation is, I am safe and happy, and I know that I know nothing. And I love that.
Yeah.
Or you know something that you know that you know nothing. That's a catch.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
okay.
True, isn't it?
That's true.
When we think we know something, we're doomed.
Yes. At least something. But there is that in this non-knowing, one is just more open. I'm going like, wow, whatever it is, just show me. Hey.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
really, definitely more willing to learn than ever.
Yeah.
So we get to a place where, like with the Course of Love, where it goes like, you stop learning even and start entering into this state of unity, which is like, yeah, beautiful, huh?
It's the best sort of church to be in, isn't it?
Good.
For a Sunday morning.
Yes.
I would second that.
Definitely.
Yeah. Well, Swedenborg talks about the church as being an inner thing. It's an inner experience. It's nothing to do with an organisation of any kind. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Ah.
So, well, shall we see each other next week?
Yeah.
Yep.
Enjoy your week, and we'll be seeing you very soon.
Okay. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Have a great day. Yeah.
Lovely.
Have a good day. Bye.
Yeah. Bye. Bye.
Bye.